You know, in all of classic literature, there are few characters quite as haunting as the mad woman in the attic from Jane Eyre, right? She's this terrifying secret, a ghost whose screams just echo through Thornfield Hall. But what if she wasn't just some monster? What if she actually had a name, history, a whole story of her own? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to uncover the tragic life of the woman who would become Bertha Mason and see how a person can be, well, completely broken down by forces way bigger than herself.
So this quote, "This is the moment her story ends and her legend begins." It's a moment of just terrifying clarity. But to really get why she feels she has to do this, we've got to go all the way back and uncover everything that was done to her first.
All right, Section 1, A Girl Called Cockroach. So, our story doesn't begin in chilly, gray England. No, we start under the sweltering sun of Jamaica at an estate called Culebri. And this is the childhood home of a young Creole girl named Antoinette Causeway. Now you gotta picture the scene. It's right after the Emancipation Act of 1833, so things are tense. It's a time of huge social chaos, and for Antoinette, her whole world is basically one of isolation and decay.
In this slide, this really lays out the brutal social ladder of the time. Antoinette's family, they're Creole, which means they're white, but they were born in the West Indies. But here's the catch. Ever since her slave-owning father drank himself to death, they've fallen on hard times. I mean, they're poor. So to the newly freed black population, they're still the enemy, the old masters. But to the rich English colonists, they're basically failures, not real white people, you see? They're completely trapped between these two worlds, and they belong absolutely nowhere. Just a classic casualty of the whole colonial machine.
And that right there, that's basically the soundtrack to Antoinette's childhood. Just this constant, hateful rejection. She isn't just an outsider. She's seen as a cockroach, you know? Vermin, something you just want to get rid of. And a label like that, it burrows deep inside you.
And this feeling of not belonging, I mean, it came at it from every single direction. Her own mother, she's beautiful but so wrapped up in her own grief and fear that she offers zero comfort. Antoinette even says, I used to make excuses just to be near her, but not anymore. And her only real friend, a black girl named Tia, well, that friendship ends in this really cruel betrayal over a couple of pennies and a dress. So Antoinette is left just completely alone, basically growing up wild in a world that's beautiful, sure, but also deeply hostile to her.
And all of this is just building and building towards an absolute disaster. For a second, it looks like there's a lifeline. Her mother marries a wealthy Englishman, a Mr. Mason, and he comes in, fixes up the estate, brings back this appearance of wealth. But this actually makes everything 100 times worse. The local community sees it as them flaunting their new money, this arrogant return of the old power structure. Antoinette's mother, she sees the danger so clearly. She keeps warning her new husband, we're not safe here. But him, he's just blinded by his English arrogance and brushes her off, thinking she's being foolish.
Okay, Section 2, The Night Culebri Burned. Well, Mr. Mason's arrogance comes with a very, very steep price. And it's a price that's going to be paid in fire. This one night, this is the event that will define Antoinette's entire life. It's going to shatter her family, and it's going to shatter her mind.
And it happens just like her mother warned him it would. An angry mob surrounds the house, their faces lit up by torches. First, it's stones raining down on them. Then, Antoinette sees smoke pouring from under her bedroom door. The house is on fire. In the total chaos that follows, her little brother Pierre dies. And even the family parrot, its wings were clipped so it couldn't fly away, it burns to death, screaming, "Qui là? Who is there?" Just this horrifying echo of the family's own nightmare. And this quote, man, this is the absolute breaking point. This is Antoinette's mother. Her hair is literally singed from the flames, and she's just screaming at Mr. Mason. All her terror, all her grief, it just explodes into this furious, violent madness. He wouldn't listen to her, and now absolutely everything is gone.
The consequences are just absolute. As they're escaping the burning house, Antoinette sees her old friend Tia and runs towards her, probably just looking for some comfort. But what does Tia do? She throws a jagged stone right at her, cutting her forehead open. And her mother? She's completely broken and gets taken away to be cared for by this cruel couple. The next time Antoinette sees her, her own mother doesn't recognize her, just screams and violently shoves her away. So think about it. In one single night, she loses her home, her brother, her mother, and any tiny shred of safety she ever had.
All right, section 3, honeymoon in the high woods. So we're going to jump forward a bunch of years now. Antoinette has spent some time recovering in a convent, and now, at 17, a marriage has been arranged for her. She's set to marry a young Englishman, who, by the way, is never named in the book. And for Antoinette, this feels like a desperate, maybe even fragile chance for a completely new start.
But from the very start, they are living in two completely different realities. I mean, look at this. She pours every ounce of her hope into him. She tells him, "I never wished to live before I knew you." All she wants is for him to tell her she's safe. But him? He is cold. He's suspicious. For him, this marriage was purely a business deal. He got her £30,000 inheritance, and she got his family name. He doesn't see a wife. He sees this exotic, maybe even dangerous stranger that he's basically bought.
This quote really shows you the terrifying intensity of her emotions. Her happiness is so fragile, so all or nothing, that she literally thinks dying is the only way to hold on to that feeling. Her entire sense of who she is, it's all in his hands now. It's this desperate, desperate plea for love, but it's also a huge red flag showing just how fragile her mental state really is.
Okay, moving on to section 4, a poisoned paradise. And that name is fitting because the fragile happiness of their honeymoon, it was never going to last. It only takes one small thing to turn their little paradise into a prison. And that one thing? It's a letter. So this letter comes from a guy named Daniel Causeway, who claims he's Antoinette's illegitimate half-brother. And the letter is just pure poison. It's filled with all these stories about her father. And then comes the knockout blow. He claims there's madness running in the family. He plants this toxic seed in the husband's mind, basically saying, hey, you've married into a tainted, insane family. And just look at how quickly her husband eats it all up. He was already suspicious, already prejudiced against her, and this letter gives him the perfect excuse he was looking for to hate her. Suddenly, he's not her husband. He's the victim. He has no pity for her, only for himself, tied to a lunatic for life. All his worst fears about this strange Creole woman have just been confirmed in his mind.
But there's one person who sees exactly what's happening. Her old nurse, Christophine, who's really the only mother figure Antoinette has ever had. She goes to the husband and begs him for just a little bit of compassion. She tells him Antoinette is just thirsty for his love. It's such a powerful human plea against his cold, hard judgment. But of course, he refuses to listen to the wisdom of a black woman. And from that moment on, he starts to systematically and cruelly destroy her. First, he steals her name. He starts calling her Bertha, a plain English name, basically erasing Antoinette and her entire past. Then he sleeps with a servant girl in the very next room, making sure Antoinette can hear everything. He takes full control of all her money. He uses this rumor of madness like a weapon over and over until he basically forces the prophecy to come true himself.
Which brings us to our final section, the ghost in the attic. He takes her from her warm, vibrant, colorful home and locks her away in a cold, gray attic in his English mansion, Thornfield Hall. She isn't Antoinette anymore. She's just a secret, a ghost. She is now the mad woman in the attic.
At this point, her reality has completely fractured. She asks her keeper, Grace Poole, "When was last night? This is England?" She doesn't know where she is or even when she is. Time has just become this meaningless blur. All she has left are these broken pieces of memory and one powerful physical object.
The red dress, this one thing holds so much power for her. It's the color of the bright, flamboyant flowers from her home in the Caribbean. It's this defiant symbol of the passion and the life that was stolen from her. And, of course, it's the color of fire. It's the thing that connects her past trauma to her future, and it holds the key to her final, terrible purpose.
And she starts having this dream, over and over again. In the dream, she takes a candle and escapes from the attic. She starts walking through the cold, gray English house, but as she walks, the house begins to change. It transforms back into Culebri, her childhood home, and she sees all the beautiful tropical flowers from her memory, all of them in flames. And then, in the final version of the dream, as the fire is raging, she looks out and sees the pool from her childhood, and Tia is there, the girl who threw the stone, her first betrayal. And in that one moment, everything clicks. She wakes up, and we're right back at that quote from the beginning. She finally knows what she has to do.
You see, this isn't going to be some random act of madness. It's her final, tragic act of rebellion. It's an act of memory. She knows she has to give this cold, gray prison the same baptism of fire that destroyed her own world.
So that leaves us with the big question, right? Who is the mad woman in the attic? Is she just a monster? Or is she Antoinette Causeway, a woman who was silenced, erased, and driven mad by the crushing weight of colonialism, patriarchy, and the absolute betrayal of the one person who was supposed to keep her safe? Her story, it really forces us to look into the shadows of these classic books we love and ask a really important question. Whose voices have been locked away?